Today's questioner asks, how do you set healthy boundaries through work emails? This is a great question. As someone who once started the day checking my work emails and ended the day checking my work emails, I've come to learn how important establishing these boundaries can be. With smartphones always at hand and work email just a tap away, it's easy to fall into the habit of checking work email first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and hundreds of times in between. So the first step to setting healthy boundaries with your work emails is to determine when you're not working. Depending on your job, this may be easier said than done. Try starting by carving out time for yourself each morning. Maybe you don't check your work email until you get into the office. Maybe you leave your phone in another room during dinner or when you head to bed. Only you can determine how much time you're willing to be offline. But I would encourage you to increase your time away from work emails whenever you start to feel overwhelmed and burnt out. Here are a few suggestions to help you hold healthy boundaries with work emails. First, uninstall or unlink your work email during longer breaks from work, vacations, long weekends, etc. Second, if you have an Android device, use the focus mode in digital well-being under the settings to gray out your email during the hours you've decided are not for work. Third, add a note to your email signature that you only respond to email between 9 and 5 on business days or whatever you decide works for you. This is especially important if you've set the expectation that you'll respond to work emails 24/7. Fourth, even if you can't resist checking your email during your downtime, do not respond to emails during that window. If you don't remain true to your word, then others won't respect the boundary you set. Okay, let's talk about setting expectations. This is a continuation on item number 3 above. Communicate to the people you work with when you will not be checking your work email. Let them know that if they need to reach you in an emergency, they should call or text. And depending on your job and who you work with, you may need to clarify what counts as an emergency. If you're a manager, this might be a great time to let your employees know that you expect they are also taking time away from their work email to rest and recharge. You might be thinking, this sounds like a lot of work. Why should I bother? I'm guessing if you've gotten this far, then you have a pretty good reason for wanting to set a healthy boundary with your email. However, I just want to offer a few reminders you can come back to if you find this process a little harder than you expected. Opening email outside of your work hours is often counterproductive. If you open email outside the office, you usually don't have access to the document someone is looking for, the numbers from a report that's sitting on your desk, or the ease to type a long response to a complicated question. So you just leave those opened emails sitting in your inbox until you get to the office, when you need to reopen and reread them before finally responding. Why are you doing this work twice? Constant working can keep you in a state of sympathetic nervous system response. This is the body's fight, flight, or freeze reaction. It happens in response to anything that our body perceives as a threat to our safety. Unfortunately, chronic stress falls into that category. By not taking a break, you set yourself up for burnout, disorder, and disease. I'm going to link to a post up here and a blog post in the show notes below with more information on the connection between boundaries and burnout. If you regularly respond to panicked emails arriving in your inbox outside of business hours from somebody looking for something they need to finish a last-minute project, you're enabling those around you to put off work to the last minute. Emergencies happen, last-minute projects spring up. But if it's a regular thing, then you need to consider if creating healthier boundaries will actually reduce the chaos in your workplace. The most important thing to remember is that you need to set boundaries that work for you. As hard as this may be to hear, you are not responsible for anyone but yourself. You are responsible to others. For example, getting your report to a coworker so they can finish their project on time, but you are not responsible for them. In other words, making yourself available at 5 p.m. on a Sunday because a coworker put off their portion of the project, assuming you would be available to help them whenever they wanted. And if you're a regular listener to Solicited Advice, you've probably heard me talk about this before. But the key to making these changes successfully is to take them in small steps. Pick one way you want to begin creating healthy boundaries with your work emails. Implement it for a week or two before adding on. Taking changes like this in small steps reduces resistance from both yourself and those you work with, making it an easier transition on everyone. I am sending you a great big hug. You've got this. I hope you enjoyed this bit of solicited advice. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to be notified whenever I post new content.